So Marvel's Avengers is heading into a really interesting direction, but equally right now things feel very, very weird. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but things just feel strange. Now, with that being said, we do have some new info to talk about, and it's some really interesting stuff. But real quick, I asked you guys in my community tab poll yesterday, will you be playing the Black Panther DLC for Marvel's Avengers? Now, you'll see, from 9,100 people, 79% of the people said absolutely, and 21% of you guys said no, I have given up with this game. Now, I don't know who's lying right here, because of course, I've always said, no matter how, I guess, bad this game gets, for as long as the DLCs are free and they're big characters, you will 100% go ahead and play it. But I want to get your thoughts on when you think this is going to release, because it's interesting. I saw a comment that basically said it's getting very, very close to when, of course, Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed away, which I believe is the 28th of August. Now, with that in mind, when do you think this DLC will actually be released? Now, with that said, I've also got a really cool sponsor, so please stick around for this, because it's going to be really cool. So let me roll the ad, and then we'll continue into the video. So I really want to share something with you guys interested in comic books, because I really believe in this project, but also they're doing a really cool giveaway, which I'll explain. But the sponsor is 9 Realms Publishing. Now, in short, they make incredible comic books, and their most recent and active campaign for their comic, The Embrace, is in super high demand on Indiegogo and is a fantastic book for fans of stories like James O'Barr's The Crow. But look, the campaign will not be open for much longer, but there is another way to support these guys and their cause through the option of Patreon, as they are working super hard to get to $500 per month, and you can help for as little as just $1 a month. Now, this right here is the important one for $20 a month, which is the 9 Realms catalog, which gets you exclusive sneak peeks of their up and coming projects, as well as an annual care package of 9 Realms books with exclusive Patreon covers and extras from the previous campaigns. Last but not least, the giveaway is for a free collector box with all current 9 Realms content plus every variant of the Embrace. Now, to get involved, all you need to do is join the Discord link below, but please just go ahead and join 9 Realms in general, as the team is incredible and the comics are just insane, from the story right down to the visualization. It's a great community. Just go ahead, check them out. The link is in the description below. Okay, so like I said to you guys, when do you think, of course, the Black Panther DLC is going to release? That's the big question. Now, today there's going to be some concept art of Wakanda that's going to be released, so hopefully that gives us like a bigger insight on stuff that we've not actually seen so far. Now, what's interesting, and this is just to kind of bring you guys up to date, if you didn't know, we now have the ability to permanently play as the same character when you're in co-op mode, right? Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about this and how big it actually is, and I think it's huge, because I think having the ability to play the same character when it first was like tested was definitely a heap of fun. Now, I did see a post on Reddit, I can't remember exactly who posted it, but it says something along the lines of the only thing that's keeping me really interested in this game is basically being able to like just go ahead and relive Spider-Man's shattered dimensions, when of course you could be multiple Spider-Mans. But then equally, I saw a comment that did say if they announce crossplay for this game at some point in his lifetime, I believe the game will become a lot more active, and it should actually be one of their priorities. Now, here's the thing. When it comes down to that stuff, we know that there's certain characters that are now going to be exclusive, which I've always said I think is a terrible idea. A timed exclusive? Yes. An exclusive? No. I don't think that's a good road to ever go down, in my personal opinion. But hey, I'm not in control of that, and it's already been done, so my point's just irrelevant at this moment in time. But what's interesting is, look, the game, like I said at the start of this video, feels like it's in a weird position right now. Like, we're getting new skins every Thursday. That's still good. Like, we got the lava skins that was leaked. Well, not leaked, but it was basically revealed, right, a couple, well, it was like a week ago maybe, actually. So we saw that, and those were interesting. Now, the direction that the game is headed, a lot of people, including myself, say, I really feel like it's dependent on this Black Panther DLC. If it completely goes south, it's not just going to work out for the game. But with that said, this entire year for the game, like, we're coming up to September, since its launch to its, 1 year anniversary, has been a complete shambles, right? Let's be honest. It has had an incredibly rocky start to its existence. Now, the interesting element to that part, of course, is the fact that it's actually making some sort of a weird comeback. Now, I say a weird comeback because, of course, we're getting these big DLCs where it's like, okay, how many characters can you still get to where you feel like, okay, this just isn't really cutting it. So that's like that big question and that big answer that we all want to know the answer to, basically. Now, here's the interesting part. At the start of the video, I said to you guys, of course, that we got like a hint of, what's going to be happening in the future. Now, one of the lead producers had done a Q&A, and the question was, can you give our community a hint at what you're currently working on? And the answer to that was, what After Wakanda looks like. Now, this is the interesting element to things, right? Let's just assume, and this is a really, really important thing to take into account, when we do get the Black Panther DLC, it is absolutely 99.9% going to be on a Thursday. Now, I would probably say don't hold me to that, but 99.9% is a pretty big number, of course, so I really feel positive, and that's just going on like previous track record, right? But here's the thing, we have to, of course, get the deep dive video prior to that, so that usually happens a couple of weeks before. Now, considering that, let's just say we're halfway through July, although we're technically not, let's just say we are. It needs to come in the last final 2 weeks of July. If it's going to be releasing at the beginning of August, if it's not going to be releasing at the beginning of August, i.e. the first 2 weeks, then they have the first 2 weeks of August to do the deep dive video, and in the final remaining 2 weeks are, of course, to go ahead and release that DLC. And this is where it all ties into really interesting elements of what will be going on in the community. But then also, like I said, when you tie everything that they're doing right now, it's all coordinating with things, right? So, sure, I mean, having a Black Panther DLC would be very, very interesting if it's late August. I know a lot of people feel 50-50 on this, and that's simply because, of course, the 28th of August is the 1 year anniversary for Chadwick Boseman, which just feels insane, by the way. I can't believe it was, I mean, it's been a year since we lost him. It's just incredibly sad, but I do think that if they kind of go ahead and release it around that time, there's going to be a pretty big clash in the community. I know that's a very broad statement to make, but that's because I'm just simply reading my comments, and I see what you guys are talking about, and I see you guys mentioning this, and I know how people feel about these things, right? And all of that is really, really crucial. But going, and not trying to like go off topic here, but linking it to situations like this, and then following like what they're doing with the Black Widow skin, for example, with the movie release, and then releasing the costume for that. That's interesting. Now we've got a Spider-Man DLC, which is going to be on the roadmap, but then Spider-Man, of course, No Way Home, that's going to be towards the end of the year. So we're talking like a December release for that DLC. But notice how now, if this is what they're going to be doing, it's all basically predictable. And I think that's really interesting, because we know the MCU's got a very, very interesting future right now, right, as far as movie goes in general. So there's a lot of opportunity for Marvel's Avengers to really tie in and kind of like go full throttle on this stuff and give the fans content that will actually be interesting to play. Now, like I said, broad statements were made, but I want you guys to leave your thoughts on how you genuinely feel about these situations, and also how you feel in the element of, okay, are these guys predictable, or are they no longer predictable? And are we just completely looking at a revenue perspective at this moment in time for the game? Like, I don't want the Black Panther DLC to drop and it's just tons and tons of microtransactions being thrown at you left, right and center. That would be a big no-no, and it could really crush the game. But leave your thoughts on it. That's going to wrap up this video here. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day. And until the next one, adios amigos.